Hey, this is Joe Hernandez, the voice of 𝐓𝐷𝐬𝐭𝐭𝐞𝐫 in Zelda Breath of the Wild, asking you to subscribe to 𝐓𝐻𝐼𝐺𝐬𝐿 and listen to our interviews and episodes together on this Zelda podcast, the 𝐈𝐧𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐽𝐽 Gamecast. And for all the latest up-to-date news on your favorite Goron, be sure to follow me at Joe Hernandez VO.
Hey y'all, and welcome to the 𝐓𝐻𝐼𝐺𝐬𝐿 channel. I am your host for today's little news video, The Geek Apprentice, and today we have a very exciting potential product to discuss, if you will. So there has been a possible leak of sorts to a collector's edition of Breath of the Wild 2. Question of the video, let us know in the comment section below what you would like to see in a collector's edition pack. We'd love to hear all of your ideas. Now, this article that we are reading from comes from Nintendo Life, and here's what it says. A listing for a collector's edition of the upcoming Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 has been spotted online, potentially giving the game away on a secondary, fancy physical release. The listing in question can be found on WTNT, a French retailer which previously leaked the existence of The Witcher 3 on Switch ahead of time alongside several other sites. The listing allows customers to register their interest for the product and shows a price of €82.85, which I think in American US dollars is roughly $100. There's a screenshot of the listing in case it got deleted on the article that we will probably put on screen so you can see. The article continues, the site also has a similar page for a standard version of the game, with that edition priced at $69.99, which is probably about 60 US dollars, as most Switch games are. Both copies have a placeholder release date of the 31st of December 2020. Now, the article says this as well, but y'all probably remember that just very recently we had Amazon UK kind of leak a Switch edition of The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. I mean, with all of these, I know we all hate hearing this phrase, but take it with a grain of salt. Mistakes can be made. You never know. Don't get your hopes up, but also we really want that. But I don't think the two things are related. Not in my opinion anyway. Now let's look at the facts here. We did get something like this, the Masterworks, for the first Breath of the Wild, so it would seem fit that we would get something like this for Breath of the Wild 2. But what does that say about its credibility? Well, this was a French site. Now, they've done this before. They did it with The Witcher 3, but there were other sites involved too, and this is the only one that we know of thus far. That doesn't make it less credible necessarily. I don't want to completely throw it out the window, because I know we would all believe that this is a very real possibility. The thing that has me kind of on the fence, and possibly me trying to be realistic and not get my hopes up, is the placeholder date, which yes, is just a placeholder, and the title. Let's begin with the latter. So it just says Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Now that could be because the name hasn't been revealed, but at the same time, this shouldn't have been revealed. So I don't know, make of what you will of that. Then again, it could just be Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. I don't think we would be a fan of that name, but as long as the game's great, who really cares, right? But I do like the unique names. Though I've heard some really weird suggestions for the title for Breath of the Wild 2. So as long as it's not fans naming it. I could totally see Nintendo doing this, seeing as what we know as A Link to the Past is Triforce of the Gods over in Japan, and our A Link Between Worlds, which started off as a sequel to A Link to the Past in Japan, is Triforce of the Gods 2. So saying Breath of the Wild 2 is not a far cry. I don't think that's what it'll be everywhere else, but it's not beyond reason. But it could still be a placeholder, and speaking of placeholders, now we have to bring up that release date. December 31st? That seems very unlikely, not because it's this year, but because it's right after Christmas. After Christmas. Now, to me, that doesn't make any sense. And actually, something else to ponder when it comes to this placeholder release date of December 31st, 2020, is that is actually a date you hear a lot for retailers who don't know the date of something coming out. They just put like the last of that month or the end of the year if it's really far off. This is just something they do. I mean, again, we know this is just a placeholder anyway, but don't get your hopes up on anywhere near December 31st, just because that is something retailers do when they don't have a specific date of release for a product. And on top of that, next year, 2021, will be the 35th anniversary of the Zelda franchise. So we could probably be seeing a butt ton of Zelda in the next year, hence Skyward Sword leaks and things like that. So it would make sense to me. And think about this. Another reason that it is not too far of a stretch to say that there would be a collector's edition for Breath of the Wild 2, in addition to the fact that the first Breath of the Wild already had one, is the fact that the first Breath of the Wild was a massive hit, a massive success. Heck, it won Game of the Year, so naturally its successor would also get some sort of big collection pack. It makes sense. And that is pretty much it for this news video. If you enjoyed it, guys, please do give the video a like so we can beat that weird YouTube algorithm. Comment on the video your thoughts and ideas for possible release dates or what could a collection pack for Breath of the Wild 2 involve. Share the video, subscribe to the channel for sure, and if you would like to support the channel, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/GameOverJessie. Highly recommend. There's some pretty cool rewards if I do say so myself. Be sure to check out our Hylian Gamescast podcast over on iTunes, and if you enjoy it, definitely give us a review over on iTunes. We would sincerely appreciate it. And if you liked my voice and would like to hear it more and actually also see my face, then you can head on over to my channel at The Geek Apprentice, also on YouTube, where I talk about a myriad of geeky topics, including Zelda, but also some other things as well. Plenty of other things, actually. So, yes, that is all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.